gonna do, fiat dollar, or crypto bull god and his crypto maniacs and the entire cryptocurrency market run wild on you.
Welcome in. I am the Crypto Bull God, and in today's video, the family. This video is dedicated to my family who is in the market, and this family will be the cream of the crop, and we will be rising to the absolute top. Welcome in. I am the Crypto Bull God, and this is the recorded on Tuesday, airing on Tuesday, August 24th, 2021 Crypto Bull God podcast. You can find me on Twitter, TradingView, YouTube, and Instagram at Crypto Bull God. Before we get into things, does anybody here use the Odyssey app? So it's an app that you can have on your phone to listen to different radio stations. It's what I use to stay connected. You know, if you've been following me for a little while, you know I'm a Philadelphia Eagles fan. So being down here in South Florida, it's the best way that I can keep a pulse on everything sports related to Philadelphia down here in South Florida. That app is annoying as anything. And I don't know if it's my phone. I have an iPhone. I don't know what version it is. It's a couple years old. I'm the last person that would update their iPhone every year. I think that's a waste of money. So my iPhone is back from 2018, so probably 20 versions old. But not only does the app take a shit on me quite frequently in various ways, but oh my God. So I listen a lot of the times, you know, my job is very analytical in nature, all right? So I like listening to background noise. Sometimes, depending upon what I'm doing, radio's too much, I'll just put on some music, some easy listening music, not heavy metal, which I listen to at the gym. But, you know, I put it on the background, and it's just comforting listening to, honestly. It just helps me to stay kind of connected with a portion of the world that I want to remain connected with. And when the commercials come on, what I can't stand, and I really would be interested to know if anybody else experiences this, again, it's the Odyssey app, okay? These fucking commercials repeat over and over and over. There will be a commercial that comes on, and I'm not going to say any of them because then the tune's going to get stuck in my head. There'll be a commercial that will come on, and either one or two commercials will come on after that are different, and then the same commercial will come on, or the same motherfucking commercial comes on 2 or 3 times in a row. And at that point, you've lost me. Like, you've irritated me at this point, and I'll just turn off the app and switch on something else. I can't stand it. So that literally just happened to me before this podcast, if you can't tell based on the irritation in my voice. So I don't know if anybody else experiences that, but I'd be very curious. Very quick, a few announcements and a quick update on Bitcoin before we kind of get into the root of today's podcast. So looking at the calendar here, what I did want to announce is an official date. Thank you to everybody who, it's thank you to you, the listener, who's subscribed to my channel. An official date and time for Chartmania, and I'll begin advertising it on Twitter so that everybody's updated and current. But I will be doing it on Thursday, September 26th at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. So if you've been paying attention, one of the things I did was I put out a poll on Twitter asking what time would work best for everyone, and I had 4 time slots, and I'm actually quickly scrolling to there. Here we go. So I had 4 time slots, okay? I had 5 to 6 p.m., 6 to 7, 7 to 8, 8 to 9. Now, the 1 hour time frame that got the most votes was 5 to 6. The time frame that got the least amount of votes was 6 to 7. So then the question is, well, why are you asked us what time. Why are you choosing a time that didn't receive the most votes, right? It doesn't seem intuitive. I'm a data scientist, so let's kind of go beyond what the initial result suggests. Let's kind of dig a little further. I'm very analytical. All right, so I'm looking at this, and there's a couple thoughts going through my head. First off, I want to leave the room for margin of error that I might not start exactly in this case. Let's just say 5 to 6. I might not start right at 5 o'clock. And we might not go exactly 1 hour. Okay. I could totally see this thing going over an hour, maybe an hour and a half, hour, 20 minutes, whatever the case is. I'm willing to stay on as long as it takes to kind of chart out some of the charts that I want to chart, and then to make sure that I answer all of the questions that you guys have, because I'm sure I'm not going to have a super large audience. So I'm sure I'll be able to answer all the charting questions that you guys have. So my thought process is, if we start somewhere in between 5 to 6, let's say we start a little late, like 5:15, 5:30 even, well, that's going to run into 6 to 7. And 6 to 7 seems to be an issue for a lot of people, probably because I have a lot of people who are on Eastern Standard Time, and maybe that's dinner time. That would be my hypothesis. So if I did something between 7 to 9, actually, if you look at the chunk between 7 to 9, that got 50% of the votes. So my thought process is, okay, if I start at 7:30, I'm starting right at the midpoint, but I have to make sure to start on time, right at the midpoint of the percentage of votes that got 23%, and then I'm running in to the section of votes that got 27%. So I'm kind of in the middle there of the 50% range. So that's my thought process. Comment if you guys disagree with the logic there, but I think that's pretty logical and sound in terms of a rationale that I came up with to come up with a time frame that made the most sense. So again, Chartmania, I have an awesome photo that I paid to have created for this event, so I hope you appreciate it. And maybe I'm more excited about the photo than the event. No, I'm very excited about the event. Very, very excited to interact with anybody who'd like to live stream with me. I've never done a live stream before, so it'll certainly be a learning experience for me. But again, Thursday, September 16th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The other thing I wanted to announce is that my brother and I are very, very close to making our official announcement on when our joint podcast will be coming out, which I'm extremely excited about. We had a date ironed out, but based on my travel plans coming up here over the course of the next week or so, I'm thinking that we might revise that date. It is going to be September. I just want to try to iron out the date. So as soon as I know something definitive, or we know something definitive, I'll certainly make an announcement, which also leads me to the point that while I will still be active on Twitter, I'm not going to be putting any YouTube content out until the week of September, the 5th. So this will be the last video on podcast or TA, otherwise, anything else, because I'm going to be gone, starting the 27th, and I'll be gone the entire next week. So I'll still be on Twitter. I'm trying to work out some specifics on having access to TradingView so I can do some charting and maybe post some things on Twitter, but I'm just not going to be as active. So, so hopefully nothing too monumental happens over the course of the next week that I think about these things that I'm not here for. Believe me, it goes through my mind. So hopefully the market's pretty stagnant in a very selfish way, because I won't be as present to be able to post content out there. So just a quick update on Bitcoin. And if you haven't, by the way, please like the video, subscribe to the video, or subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell icon so you get notifications when I post things and you're notified through YouTube. And then drop a comment. All these things just help out the YouTube algorithm so we can spread awareness, right? Carry the education and spread it forward, right? We want to spread awareness, get my content out there, get more cryptomaniacs in the clan here. And sounds pretty cultish, and that's the best way to do it. But just a quick update on Bitcoin. There really isn't anything material to update you guys on. I mean, I've kept you pretty abreast of chart developments and spoken to things. And, I just tweeted something out about not getting caught up in the day-to-day right now. This is the last thing you want to do, in my opinion, at this part of the cycle, and think you can outsmart the market. And start making all these moves and jumping in and out of things. There's just two things I would quick comment on that I've already commented on, but I would just re-highlight. on the 12-hour chart, we see the two. I've spoken very much to how important, in my opinion, historically, it's not my opinion, historically, the 12-hour chart is. We want the candlestick bodies to remain above the 200 simple moving average. That 200 simple moving average right now, which is around, looks like it's at $38,000. It was decreasing in value, but because the price action has been increasing in value more recently, what we're beginning to see is the 200 simple moving average as older price data falls off, right? Kind of spoke to this a little while ago. As older price data falls off within the calculation of the moving average and more recent higher price action goes into the calculation of the moving average, that's what's causing it to curl up. So it is beginning to round out and it's going to begin to curl up. But right now it's sitting at 38,000. So we don't want candle body closes on the 12-hour to really go below, once this thing curls up, it'll be closer to 40,000. So anywhere between 38 to 40,000, we really want price action to not go below that level. The other thing that you want to keep in mind is, while I have stressed that the probabilities, in my opinion, based on all the data science models I've looked at and charts that I've shared with you guys, and maybe a few others that I haven't shared at this point yet, while all these views lead me feeling very convicted with the highest probability that, the bull cycle top is not in, and we will, in my opinion, top most likely in the fourth quarter this year. I've always talked about the sweet spot in the middle of the fourth quarter, like, mid to late November. What you want to keep in mind is we're not technically out of the woods until we actually break our prior all-time high. So the other thing you want to keep in mind is, guns a-blazing when we break $65,000 on Bitcoin. Before that, you really can't definitively say otherwise. We really need ultimately to break the $65,000 prior all-time high in Bitcoin before we can really start feeling uber convicted that we're going much higher. So just, two important points to keep in mind. The 12-hour chart, 200 simple moving average, and then the breaking the prior all-time high. So with that being said, I tweeted out the other day that I really wanted to highlight the fact I felt that, tuning into this week's podcast was very important. I felt that, beyond the announcements I had at the beginning, I've been alluding to Chartmania, and I've been alluding to, the podcast I'm doing with my brother. There's some messaging within this podcast I feel that is extremely important for every single person to hear, no matter your education level or where you're at investment-wise or where you're at in life. One of the things I was doing, and it'll become ever so clear in the not-too-distant future why I was doing this, I was kind of reflecting and taking a look back on pictures and videos, some funny things that I saw surrounding personal achievement. So, hopefully when you look at your life, there are some defining moments within your life that you can look at and you can say, this is a big moment for me. This is personal achievement. This is something I worked really hard for, because that to me is one of the greatest feelings in the world. When you set a goal in life and you're very passionate about something and you're very convicted about it, and there's a lot of naysayers and there's a lot of people looking at you like you're crazy, which in my opinion, when a lot of people question your sanity and question why it is you're doing what you're doing, it's one of the best signs that you're on the correct path. Hopefully you can look back and you can see some big personal accomplishments or a big personal accomplishment in your life, and that can add fuel to your fire moving forward. For me, I kind of look at two things, really. I kind of look at, consistently since the age of 14, I've been weight training. Okay, I've been exercising. And when I say consistently, I mean consistently. There's never, ever been an extended period of time where I've just kind of taken off or gotten lazy with it. Even throughout my academics to become credentialed as a fellow of the Society of Actuaries, there was never a point where I sort of just put down the weights for a week, not joking, even for a week, and just focused on my studies. My weight training helped to provide a balance in my life from mental and physical stability to allow me to maintain a sense of semblance in my life to feel sane and get through those exams. Yeah, that's the best way to put it. So, a really big accomplishment. I mean, I think I've put in the work. I've put in the effort consistently. I won't say for how many years, because now I said since age 14. So that would give away how old I am. So we won't do that. But I've been doing it consistently since the age of 14, nonstop. And I'm in great shape. And I'm not shy about saying that. And there should be, for anybody who's been exercising and is in great shape, you should take a form of pride in that. I mean, there's a lot of lazy people out there, a lot of people who are more lazy than they should be, a lot of people that need some motivation, a lot of people that don't take care of themselves physically. So you should take it, sometimes I feel very shy in saying that, or I'm a very humble person, so I don't, the character I portray on Twitter is for comic relief. I mean, I'm actually an extremely humble person, very grounded in reality and the things I have in my life that I feel very blessed for and very thankful for, which comes all from my upbringing, from my parents, who did an incredible job, keeping me very grounded in life. So sometimes I'm shy to say that, but the older I'm getting, the more I realize that all this stuff kind of fades at some point. And I hope, if someday I have my own family, that's something I hope, those sorts of viewpoints I hope I can pass down to my own child or my own children if I ever have kids. But so that's one big personal accomplishment I look at. But the other one that I really speak to, and it's really the only one that I really I'm not shy about speaking about, okay, is getting credentialed as an FSA, as a fellow of the Society of Actuaries. Because for me personally, I think it's an awesome achievement. Some people struggle with academics more than others, and so I don't mean this to undercut anyone. But for me personally, okay, it was a given that I'd graduate from high school. It was a given that I'd graduate from college. And if I wasn't getting A's in class, there's something wrong. That's just how I was and how I critiqued myself and just how stringent I was on my academic courses. So all that stuff was a given. I knew I'd graduate with an A GPA in college, and I knew all this stuff, and I knew I'd get a job. But the question was really going throughout college what I wanted to do, and eventually I figured that out. But getting credentialed as an FSA, if you look up the statistics on how many actuaries credentialed FSAs there's some sort of statistic I read when I was going through my final credentials that said something like as many, I hope this is correct because I'm going to say this off the top of my head, but as many actuaries, no. As many lawyers as there are in New York City, there are actuaries in the world. So I want you to think about that for a second. And that's not a knock against lawyers, getting your PhD and becoming a lawyer. There's obviously awesome, incredibly intelligent lawyers out there. But the point of it is it's a very niche field. The exams are extremely brutal. And it's one of those things that unless if you've gone through them before, okay, you can't speak to it. So don't try to tell me that you can relate to that because you can't. I promise you. Okay, that I am just bloody serious on. I guarantee you. Where did that come from? Bloody serious. That's like an English saying, isn't it? I am bloody serious. I'm bloody serious with ya. I'm bloody serious with ya. I'm never good with accents. I'm bloody serious with the rest of ya. That getting credentialed as an FSA is extremely, extremely difficult, and it's very brutal, and there were times in my life I definitely questioned my sanity, and trying to keep a balance on life was very difficult. I was typically I've always been in longer-term relationships. I haven't bounced around from relationship to relationship, so trying to maintain a relationship with someone, trying to maintain friendships, trying to maintain, even family gatherings at Easter and things like that. Just there was a lot of insanity with that looking back. I question how I was able to do it. I would never want to go through the exam process again. And so why am I actually bringing all this stuff up? What is the point of this? Well, the point is that I accomplished something, in my opinion, with obtaining my FSA that at certain points, even though I didn't want to let on at the time, seemed insurmountable if I allowed if I looked too far ahead of myself, right? If I didn't just look at the next step that I was taking up the staircase, okay, and I didn't just sort of try to knock out little goals to reach the ultimate goal. If I looked too far ahead and looked up the stairwell and saw I had a huge flight of stairs to climb instead of just looking at the first step in front of me, it was overwhelming. And at certain points, it did become overwhelming, and those were things I didn't share with people. And there were times I questioned if I wanted to stop at my ASA, which is you're still credentialed as an actuary, but you're an associate of the Society of Actuaries, and you haven't taken the fellowship exams, which were the real true motherfucking beast within the examination process, in my opinion, but just not my opinion alone. So I, in my opinion, accomplished something that gave me the frame of mind in life that told me that anything was possible. Literally anything was possible. If you put your mind to something, no matter how far stretched it seemed, anything was possible. So I don't know where you are in life, and I don't know what you're going through, and I don't know what goals you have. But do not let anyone, if you are passionate about something, because I was extremely passionate about getting my FSA. I cannot put into words to you how passionate I was about becoming credentialed as a fellow of the Society of Actuaries. It was something that was going to happen. I was going to make it happen. And then when it happened, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that I was done. This was test taking I had done all throughout my 20s and into my 30s. Okay, just to put it in perspective, it was a little over 10 years of my life taking examinations. Think about that. More than 500 hours spent on those fellowship exams in particular. And even the lower level exams, I spent a fuck ton of time studying. 500 hours per exam sitting. Okay, when you fail, you get a grade letter between 0 to 10. And I was infamous for getting 5s. When you fail, you got to start all over again, and the exam would be very different the next time you took it. So now you got to start all over again. You got to study 500-600 hours for an exam, okay? Fucking brutal. But when I got through that, I knew that in life, if you put your mind to something, you can do anything. The only thing that disables you, okay, it literally disables you from being able to do something is yourself, your mind, your thought process. You doubt yourself. Like I think about, like I'll give you an example. I've always been very shy to talk to women. Always very shy to talk to girls. But the funny thing is, like I'll talk about my current situation. The funny thing is then you find out after the fact, oh, the person you're dating never thought you were into them. They never thought they never thought you would have been interested in them. They never thought you were attracted to them. All the meanwhile, you're too shy to talk to that same person because you have insecurities and you're unsure of yourself. It's your own insecurities and your unsureness of your abilities that disable you at times. I mean, like we're all, at the end of the day, we're all human beings and we all have fallacies and we all have gifts that are given to us from God. I'm not going to get too religious here. But we all have gifts given to us. I'll keep it religious neutral here, okay? We all have gifts given to us by a higher power, in my opinion, okay? But some of us tap into it to a higher degree than others. And there's many, sometimes it's life circumstances, but a lot of the times we disable ourselves through our own thought process, okay? You are capable of so much, and I've proven that by getting my fellowship. It did not come easy to me. And that brings us to the cryptocurrency market. Now, let me relate getting my FSA to the current times that we are at within this 4-year cycle. When you would get done taking the exams, there was a long period of time that would occur before you would get your examination results. My last, I will never forget this day. You know, between getting my actual FSA, I don't know what you call it, diploma, FSA diploma, and finding out my final exam results, it literally, greatest days or day of my life, okay? It is wrenching, just gut-wrenching to wait for those results to come out. You've studied 500 to 600 hours of your life. You don't go out on the weekends. You don't go out on Fridays. You just fucking study and study and study. And you're waiting for this exam to tell you if you have to do this whole motherfucking thing all over again or if you're good to go and you're on to the next step. I'll never forget that before that last examination result was released, I felt convicted that I had passed the exam. And it wasn't a sure thing to me in the sense that I didn't take the exam and breeze through it. There are 2 sessions. I think it was a 6-hour exam. So it was like 3 hours in the morning and 3 hours in the afternoon. Okay, so 6 hours. Imagine that. So I remember the morning session was pretty brutal. Like it was pretty brutal. And then I remember during the break before the afternoon session, I listened to some Rocky music. I'm not kidding you. I listened to Rocky music and psyched myself up, and I killed the afternoon session. Like I felt like I literally outscored every single person that took that examination in the afternoon session. That's how I felt. So it was very mixed, okay, because I felt like the morning session went so bad and the afternoon session just went epically well. But something inside, there was just something, I can't describe it to you, just something inside me knew that I had finally done it, okay? And let me just tell you, it was either 2 or 3, okay? Full disclosure. It was either 2 or 3 exams in a row for, I think it was 2. 2 exams in a row for this final exam, I had gotten 5s. Okay, 5, again, is 1 score away from passing. So I was so close to prior 2 sittings, and I failed each time, and it was very, very rough. But something was different this time. Something told me that I was going to accomplish this seemingly lifelong goal that I had worked so hard for from my 20s up until my young 30s, okay? Barely over 30. And it was just a phenomenal feeling, and what I want to relate it to is what's going on right now. I have not had a similar feeling in my life until right now. Okay, flash forward how many, I'm not going to disclose how many years, again, because I'm smart enough to understand the numbers will give away my age. But flash forward however many years, and I have a very, very similar feeling to what's going on right now. I have been studying this market relentlessly since late 2017. It all started with Bitcoin. Like most people, you first get into Bitcoin, and it went off from there. I got into Litecoin, heavily got into XRP and Ripple and what they were doing, and then it just kept branching off. And I just have this similar feeling based on my own financial goals and how I've invested and where I'm at and what's going on within this current cycle and the euphoria that has yet to take place in the fourth quarter. I'm trying to translate this verbally as best as I can, but there's something inside me that is a very, very similar feeling to what I felt those years ago when I passed my last exam, that some sort of large goal of mine will be reached, that some sort of large change in my life, that some sort of lifelong goal will be reached. And that we are literally on the precipice of something historic. Keep in mind, that feeling I had came at the culmination, the conclusion of studying all throughout my 20s. So many setbacks, so many failed exams, and the same thing with investing in this market. I've made so many mistakes. I've made so many mistakes, so many stupid mistakes that I've learned from. But I finally got to this point at the culmination with the last exam sitting where before I checked my exam results, I remember telling my mom in particular, that I felt like this was it. I just felt like something inside me told me this was the last exam. Well, look, I've made a lot of stupid mistakes in this market, and at some point I'll dedicate a podcast towards just that so that you can benefit from it. But I'm still at this point of I'm doing well. Let's just put it that way. And I feel, based on all the education that I've done, based on all these data science models and all the charting I've done and all the reading I've done and all the education I've done for the past 4 years, that I feel so convicted and so sure that we are on the precipice of something right now so great that 99.9% of people do not see it. And what I'm here to share with you is the logic and the level-headed approach that you should be taking entering what I think is the final stage of this 4-year bull cycle. You have to have a plan. I feel absolutely convicted. I feel so sure that the prices are going to go so astronomically higher in the fourth quarter of this year, and it's going to happen quickly. And I can't stress to you enough that you have the capability, you have the intelligence. I'm not that smart of a person. I just work really hard. I understand you have to have a certain level of intelligence to be an actuary. I get that. But I know a lot of people more gifted than I am. Okay? I know a lot of people more intelligent than I am. I work very hard. And I always say that education is power. You really, if there's any part of you that feels like you haven't been doing your due diligence and you don't know what your exit strategy is, or you don't know what your level of conviction is in the market, or you don't know how you want to treat your investments, buy-sell strategies, you need to know now. It is so critical that you know now. Because as things escalate in price, in my opinion, unless if you sell, it's a paper gain. It's not a realized gain. You actually don't have dollar bills that you can use, as much as I hate fiat. You don't actually have the money to make your financial goals become a reality. So please recognize that you need to be level-headed and have an exit strategy. It's so critical. All kidding aside, I want to be very serious in this podcast about this. All of these price targets and price projections and things going on in the market and the 4-year cycle and where things could go, it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things if you don't sell and have logical levels to sell. I feel like, for me personally, I'm just talking about myself, and I'm sharing this with you. I'm being very candid with you. I'm very transparent. The change that I had in my own personal life, getting my fellowship, and the impact that had on my life, and how incredible it felt to have that life-changing goal reached. It feels so, I've not had a similar feeling or anything remotely similar to right now. I've worked so hard at this goal that I have, my own personal financial investment goals. And I feel so sure of myself that just like an examination result that kind of concluded, okay, getting credentialed as an FSA, I feel like I'm personally about to get concluded at the end of this investment thesis and strategy that I've had at the top of this bull cycle in the fourth quarter. And I really hope that you're paying attention to the content that I put out there, and you find it to be a useful data point for your own personal financial decisions. So before we get into Twitter questions, I actually wanted to touch on something funny. And I feel very sure that you guys will find some humor in this. I understand all of this beer virus stuff can be very sensitive and very political, unfortunately, and just very blah, 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 blah. All right, here's what I'm looking to do, because I think that it's important in life to find humor. I increasingly find this in life. I think it's important in life to find humor where you can. Life really is short. I've learned that more and more. especially when you lose people in your life unexpectedly, very unexpectedly. Life is very short. We need to find humor where we can, all right? You guys are going to find this funny, all right? Just come with me now. Just follow me for a second. What I'm going to speak to is not an opinion. It's not an opinion on anything beer virus related. This is literally looking at how illogical and ridiculous people can be, okay? And trying to take some humor in it. So, with that being said, these are the top 5 mask blunders. Ways people show they're illogical. Coming in at number 5, walking into the gym with a mask, then removing the mask while you're on equipment. You could be on weight equipment, you could be a weight machine, you could be on an elliptical, you could be on a treadmill. You take the mask off, you're around people. People are like 1 to 2 feet away from you. But then, as soon as you start to travel in the gym, you put the mask back on. Then you take it off again when you get to another piece of equipment and you're inhaling and exhaling a lot, and there's a lot of people around you. That's mask blunder number 5, all right? Makes absolutely no sense. Coming in at number 4. This one, you would think people would learn by now. Not covering your nose with a mask. This one makes me laugh the most. People don't understand that their noseway and mouth are connected to their esophagus, and actually you can breathe through both, apparently. I guess we still haven't learned this at this point. Coming in at number 3. This is a good one. I've seen this quite a bit, and it's happened to me, actually. All right? Wearing a mask. All right? So you got the mask on. Great. If that's what you want to do, you go do that. Wearing a mask, then removing it to talking with people in close proximity. What the fuck? What the fuck? Coming in at number 2. Wearing a mask by yourself in your car. Okay? You're not Uber, you're not Lyft. You're literally driving around by yourself in your car. Nobody's in the car with you, but you're masking up. Apparently your car has the beer virus. And coming in at number 1, this is the one that I personally think tops the top 5 mask blunders, showing how illogical that people are and they can't think for themselves. The couple that goes somewhere, one of them masks and one of them doesn't. People, unless if you're always remaining 6 feet apart from your partner, you're not only not getting physical with one another, but you don't live together. You're nowhere in the house near each other. Does this make any sense? Why are you going places with one person masked and one not masked? I want you to really think about that for a second. Mind-boggling. Like, fucking mind-boggling to me. I don't know. Can we find some humor in this? Can we just laugh a little bit? Like, we're us as human beings, like, we're so funny. We're so illogical at times. We don't make any sense. So, again, this is all meant in humor. Hopefully, we're not going to get all sensitive and we're going to be able to laugh about these things. Let's get into some Twitter questions. Okay, so a little light on the questions this week. 2 quick questions. How did you start your channels up? I think you mean your channel, or maybe you mean the podcast and the TA videos. Really, Steve, there's no big, I don't know, there's really no big thought process here. I just felt like the thing I've stressed is, and I don't know if this is readily apparent at this point, I'm very passionate about this space. Like, I see the disruptive technology and the generational wealth transfer opportunity that it provides getting in at ground levels when most people have no clue what's going on. And so I just wanted to kind of spread my voice, right? I feel like I can help people out. I have a background in tutoring, not teaching. I ultimately did not become a teacher. I became an actuary. But I do have a background of doing a lot of tutoring back in the day. I love teaching people. I love it. And I do exercise that within my profession. I love giving presentations and explaining technical things to non-technical audiences. It's a point of me where I excel, and so I felt I could excel in the same manner to take charts and explain them to people. And as far as the podcast, I love talking about this stuff. So I felt like it would be awesome to get something out there and talk about crypto and non-crypto related things and kind of blend something together that's a little bit more unique to the market. And that's it. I mean, there was really no other science behind it. I just was looking to get more active. I was looking to be more active in something I'm passionate about. How about that? This one's a really good one. So this guy essentially is asking me, I think you're a newer follower, so thank you for becoming a recent cryptomaniac. Hopefully I won't lose you over me being very transparent about this. What are your thoughts? I should just stop the question after this. What are your thoughts on BC Backer? I should just stop right there. Price target for Bitcoin. First, okay, so he's asking me basically what my thoughts are related to BC Backers. I'm not own analysis. I'm not going to go too much into this, so I'm just going to say this. I don't know what his price targets are because I don't pay attention to his content. I don't want to badmouth anyone. That's not what I want to start doing. I want to be mature about this. So I'll just leave it at this. I do not pay attention to his material because I personally do not find value in his material, and in certain ways I don't respect the way he comes across and approaches things. So it has been a very, 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 very long time since I saw anything that he's put out. I haven't paid any attention to what he does. So that's my response to that. Sorry, I don't have anything more. So with that being said, keep in mind Chartmania and the new podcast coming out for my brother and myself. In closing, as we always do, please join me in a moment of silence for all of those I attempted on multiple occasions to get into crypto and have remained ignorant. Gracias, mis amigos y mis amigas.